Welcome to part 2 of this 2-part series, Deer Hunting Northern Maine for Beginners. So we're going to cover where to hunt and how to hunt. Part 1 was gear oriented.
Yes.
A lot of experienced guys out there that they know the
They know the drill.
they know
Paul.
the drill.
They've done it for a lot of years, and yeah.
So we're telling them nothing new.
No, that's for sure.
Let's just have a scenario. You're a beginner deer hunter in Maine. Never hunted in northern Maine before. You gotta find a place to hunt. What's the plan? Well, what's the plan? What's your plan?
Plan now?
We're gonna swing until we hit.
Now it's no problem finding land.
No, we're blessed with a lot of land that we can access, Paul.
Finding a place to hunt with deer,
Right.
is the kicker. It can feel like you're kind of a needle in a haystack up here
Yeah,
sometimes.
for sure up here.
And northern Maine is basically split kind of in 2 types of hunting terrain, I guess you could say. We've got on the eastern side, mostly farmland. Western side is
Industrial forest.
Industrial forest. So,
Yeah, and that's what it is. It's forest, but it's a working forest, Paul. It's
so that can play a role into, I guess, your type of hunting and how you're going to hunt them. So where would you hunt in northern Maine? We'll start with the experienced deer hunter. The experienced deer hunter is going to go a lot from past years.
absolutely
It's going to pull from experience. Probably return to areas that they've been successful in the past.
right.
Kind of what we do. Usually start our season going to areas that we saw deer last year.
See a rub in here.
You could see that last year from the road, and he hit the same tree.
Yeah, here's last year's right here.
Probably the same deer,
He's just a little bigger this year.
a little bigger.
Probably a lot of experienced hunters have put countless hours scouting. They also talk to people.
Yeah, that's a big thing. Yeah,
I'm not super secretive when I talk to someone
right,
because I basically have no special spot. I'm basically all over Aroostook County.
right.
There's no honey hole for me.
No, we don't have a particular spot. We have general areas that we hunt and stuff, and from there we check out the different spots in those general areas. Which, I mean, I say general area can be a large tract of land and stuff that
With just pockets of deer.
with just pockets of deer and where they might be at that particular time, and that can change, as everybody knows, over hunting season. That'll change.
Changes from November 1st to the end of November.
Yeah.
So where would a novice start? Someone who has never stepped foot in northern Maine. I think the best recommendation is hire a guide.
If somebody doesn't have any idea, they're probably from away, and then, like you say, and it would be in their best interest to hire a guide or to have a connection.
It's going to streamline the process extremely well because education always costs something. It's going to cost you time, or it's going to cost you money.
Yeah.
And you can, if you're from away, even if you live in the area and you've never hunted, if you hire a guide, boys, he can shorten that learning curve up a lot and ease a lot of frustration.
A lot of times, though, somebody that's lived in the area and has never hunted, they have relationships with people.
They've got a friend. They know someone who knows.
Exactly. So they can connect that way. They can usually say, you know, I'm interested in taking up hunting, and they'll fall in behind somebody that has hunted. There's plenty of people around here that hunt, so and they more than likely have a friend or a relative in this area that does it.
So if you live locally, it's easy to find someone in the know that can shorten up that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it could be a frustrating proposition. Jeez, crow. Because it's easy to find a place to hunt, but finding a place that would have
that's going to be productive is very difficult. And
another thing you can do, and it's what we do, look at the harvest rates per township.
Yep.
And it'll give you an idea how many deer were shot per township.
Right.
We always look at it.
Yeah.
But it also can be a little bit misrepresented.
Right. It may or may not mean anything in the fact that, there's some areas that get very little hunting pressure, and obviously they're going to have a very low kill.
It's a numbers game.
Right.
A lot of the time.
It's not always indicative of how many deer there might be there. It usually is. It's usually tied to, the reason there's not many people there is because
there's no deer.
There's no deer there.
Yeah.
So, but not always. There can be the outlier.
No, because I know a lot of the areas that we hunt, and used to hunt years ago, they were so secluded, so hard to get into. But there was a lot of times I'd shot deer and I was the only person in that township to shoot a deer. And it wasn't because there was no deer there. It just was, it was so darn hard to get in there.
Yeah.
60 miles from the nearest paved road.
Yeah.
And then you had to cross brooks and, you know, it was just in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
So I guess for the novice and that wants to hunt northern Maine, it's easy to find land, but hard to find land with deer.
Even when you have a place with some deer, I know I'm always thinking this, that there's a better place out there.
Oh yeah.
There's a better
looking.
place. And where is it?
Yeah.
And how do I find it?
You got to be curious.
Yeah.
And we'll touch on that later. You find a place to hunt, you kind of get that narrowed down. Maybe you get a guide or you go with a lodge, or maybe you're just freewheeling it. How do you hunt? Bucking a doe? Yeah, one on the left looks pretty good. Yeah. Experienced guys are they know their style. They've got a style.
Right.
They've got a way that they hunt. Most experienced guys know their strengths and weaknesses, what's been productive for them in the past, and they go off of that. But what about a novice? So there's basically 3 main ways someone can hunt in northern Maine. You can sit, you can stalk, or you can track.
You would want to try to find the method that best suited your abilities. You know, if you're in good shape and you're a curious person, and you may want to track, and if there's no snow, you're going to probably still hunt. You know, and get off the. Yeah, I like to see new country, and I like to be on the move. So those methods are always appealing, but there are times that you may find a particular spot that you say, you know, if I set here
for a week,
I would probably have a good chance to harvest an animal. And I've seen those spots, and you know, and so I think flexibility is a big thing. You know, being able to adapt and yeah. But there's one more, Paul, and I was thinking of this, and there was a guy we saw a number of times last year, and all he did was ride.
Yeah, some people have great success.
He drove. We saw him, and we always different areas. He was always driving around. He shot a deer. I don't think he recovered it. I came upon him in his vehicle. He had his chance. Now that's a method that a lot of people, they shun it or kind of look down upon it, but it's what he does. And obviously he probably has had success in the past with it, because
so he's building off his past.
He seemed to know. He was just riding around checking cuts.
So I think the first thing, if I was a novice, would be hire a guide.
Yeah.
That'd be the easiest. Get off back right after that.
Yeah.
That's going to really shorten the learning curve a lot. But yeah, you hit a lot of good points. Ask yourself, what am I good at?
Yeah.
Am I in good shape? Do I like to move around?
Yeah.
Can I walk all day? Am I not patient? Am I patient? And that'll kind of dictate, you know, if you're in good shape, can walk all day, don't have the patience to sit, then if there's snow, you can track. If there's no snow, you can stalk. And especially if someone's curious. I mean, I don't think I personally ever stalk. I think I'm more or less kind of poking around and looking at deer sign.
Well, that's another thing, Paul, that we use our still hunting for. It's a scouting. You know, you're always looking for that place.
I'm probably not the best stalker.
Yeah, that's a good opportunity to do a lot of scouting and stuff. You're more looking for deer sign than you are for deer sometimes.
Where can I go when there is snow?
Yeah.
Because that's snow's a game changer in northern Maine.
Yeah.
That's hands down. If you can get out when there's snow on the ground, man, that's like, doesn't matter if you're a stand hunter, if you drive around.
You're right.
If you stalk or track, just having snow lets you know where those deer are at that given point in time.
Yeah.
And that's a really big help.
Puts a lot of information at your hands that, you know,
that you don't get otherwise.
As far as, you know, location and time and the amount of deer, the number of deer, puts a lot of information.
But then on the flip side, like you mentioned, if you're not good, maybe you're not healthy, can't get out of the vehicle or can't walk very far, then you stand hunt. Find a place to set up shop and watch a good crossing or drive around. Find some deer sign and hang out.
Yeah.
For the week, and that can be fun. I don't have the patience for that, but some people do.
One day I was tracking and I get picked up by a young couple. Listening to them as they took me back to my truck, they listening to them. They were fairly successful, She was, and he was, at shooting deer with that method. But they drove a lot of miles, a lot of days. They covered a lot of ground. So
I guess to summarize, where do you hunt in northern Maine and how do you hunt in northern Maine? One, hire a guide. That's going to be your best bet if you've never been out at all. Talk to people, know your strengths, do some research, and eventually just get out there and do it. The learning's going to cost you something.
Yeah.
Whether it's time in the field. Or paying for a guide.
Yeah.
One way or another, it's going to cost you.
And the great thing about it, Paul, it's not a lost day when you know, if you're out in the field and you don't harvest anything, it's a great way to, you know, spend your time and enjoy the nature and learn a lot.
Especially if you're mobile.
Yeah, you
if
can
you're doing
learn a lot.
something like I was thinking the other day, if I'm out tracking deer, I never come back to camp without a story. That's a god-awful sound.
Right.
There's always something that happened throughout the day.
Yeah.
That's great to talk about.
Yeah.
And that I can't think of ever tracking a deer and not coming back with something unusual.
No, you're absolutely right. And that's the whole purpose of it, Paul, like I say, because most days we're going to come home without an animal, you know, but it's never a lost day. It's always...
No, it's always worth something.
So
I guess the intent of this series really is for the novice hunter. A lot of experienced guys, they know what's going on. We're not telling anyone anything.
No,
they probably know more about what's going on.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
But the other great thing is, last video we just did, part 1, there was a lot of good comments and a lot of good information being spread in the comments from experienced deer hunters. And even though it's geared towards novice deer hunters, I think deer hunters in general just like talking about deer hunting. Especially this time of year. It doesn't matter how simple the topic is. I always enjoy talking about deer hunting. Yeah. That being said, I hope this is a jumping off point for some people who have never deer hunted before. At the end of the day, put a plan together, think about it, but you just could end up getting out there and doing it. Because it's what? Is it good for the soul?
Yeah, absolutely, yes. Get outside is good for the soul.